everybody. It is December 5, 2023. Hope you're all doing well. Hello, Lindy London, Analog Synth Player, Kenosis, Donna. Hello, Lily. Hi. Thank you, Lily. D. Moore, Taylor Noose, Silent Walk, Rick Yorkin. Hi. Hello, Blues du Jour. Hi, and Sherry Hughes and L78, thank you for your selfless service. Much appreciated. Very much appreciated. So, Andrew Cruz, hello. I don't know if I've missed anyone already. I don't think so. Crystal Ingram, SCDHL number 4, hello. Sith Trish, Silence is Compliance. And Marty Lauderdale, thank you for your selfless service. Patricia White, Brian, McCory, Michael Scott, Carpenter, Hypocrites Matrix, Julie, Oracle 11, I think I said, but hello twice, if I did say it already. So, life. How is life going for you guys? Cynthia Johnston. Wow, I have all my moderators in tonight. Hi. Thank you. Super Painting 62. Hello. Oh boy. Okay, too. I said it was December 5. I didn't mean to. January. 5 days into January already. Mama Rages, hello. Paige Seabrook, hello. Rage Against the Machine. Hello. So, yeah, everything is moving along. For all of those in the past year, but I did see an awful lot on Twitter, YouTube, in the comments section. We're winning. We're winning. I don't know who the hell these people are, but any of you see that we are winning? We're winning the fight against the evil. I don't see any fight. Not in this country. Not in our country. Heterodox, hello. I lost my electricity again today. And I think everything is organized now, but electricity cut off and I lose everything. And you know how many windows with how many pages, and it gets very frustrating. Wow, does it ever? Yeah, so let's begin with something very sweet. And here it is. Where is it? Homeless man and his dog. Look at this. I see a good soul. I see a good soul who's homeless. What about you? What do you see? And this, very cute. This has to be somewhere in, like, Alaska.
Neil! Neil! Here, push, push, push! Here, push, push, push! Here, push, 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 push! Neil! Good morning, Neil!
just want to sleep, and what are you calling me for? And yeah, I was just too tired to flip down this mattress and fall asleep, so I just made it to this little corner. Very cute. Now, look at this. What is happening with this fabulous ship?
Does somebody have a heart attack at the wheel? That is.
Well, is it dangerous to us or maybe evacuated?
Holy cow.
I don't think that ship was supposed to dock here.
That is a farce.
Oh, the unusual that we see all the time now. Old man winter to plunge Europe and the United States into deep freeze after mild December. It's going to be cold. It's time to start hyping. I see an awful, and I do it too. Any of you? You're emailing or you're leaving a comment and you're writing the wrong word. I now read what I write several times before I hit send. Because I'll read it and then read it again and I'm like, how could I have possibly written that word when I actually wanted a different word? That's happening, and I'm reading it a lot from others. It's time to start hyping the polar vortex again. Just like 10 years ago, polar vortex, we've been hyping that year after year. Ow. All right, it's going to get very chilly in these mid-states here. I thought that would be a bigger picture of it, but let's see. Blog now, public, and it's a big one. Hard to keep up with all the polar vortex tap dancing in the coming days. Polar vortex cold. Into Texas, into New Mexico, into the northeast of Arizona, and on its way up. We're supposed to get snow on Sunday. So, one of the tweets say, make sure you have your toilet paper, your beer, and your wood. Okay, that's all people need. But checking out Zoom after I watched this, Real Fishing Life posted today, the sleeping giant must wake up from its hypnosis. Our government has you convinced we cannot do anything about anything. Yeah, a whole lot of awake. What are we going to do about it? But I am pleading with every able-bodied body in this world. I need every police officer, military personnel to stand up and start fighting this madness with us. I don't know how long you've been at this Real Fishing Life, but I've been at this. I'm going on my 14th year. Some have been at it even longer. Can't seem to do anything about it. Because you need people to take action.
Good morning, freedom fighters. It is 9:29 a.m., January 5th, 2024. Very unusual weather system being created today. Very heavy chemtrail X's. Why do they love the X's so much? I could see 3 X's at one time in the skies over Florida yesterday. What is up with the X? Is Elon Musk actually doing all this? Is the 5,000 satellites surrounding our beautiful round little planet here, is it all because of his weather control? Are we looking at our savior and he's the devil? Heavy chemtrailing today over Kentucky. You can see these straight line clouds are definitely very distinct. It looks like fibers of some of the fiberglass material I use. That's all from aircraft. Last night in Florida, it was very, very heavy spraying all across the southern part of Florida, which I could see in my the spotlights falling back to the earth in very heavy sanding like material. It looks like dust, but it's not. It's chemtrail material. How am I still alive? How are any of us still alive? But all our birds are dying. They are an indicator. There's 200,000 birds was found in New York City alone. Chicago, thousands of birds are dead. Every state is reporting thousands to 10,000s of birds dead. Millions of pounds are washing up. All our fish here in Florida has already died. We have no fish left. This is fish all over the world dying. Chile, Australia, anywhere. It doesn't matter. LA, Louisiana, anywhere we flip. We are poisoning our planet, people. Y'all need to start waking up. Put down the toys. They're destroying everything here. This is Texas, Australia. It don't matter. It all looks the same. We're losing our planet. I am pleading with y'all. Put down your remotes and the hypnosis and wake up. You are asleep. Every single one of you that are saying this isn't real is asleep. Standing by. Commercial fisherman out.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to read Christine Pound's comment. Yes, absolutely right, Christine. Wow, that ship is just like the scene in Leave the World Behind. You are quite right. How that ship, Leave the World Behind, the very beginning of the movie, a ship, they see it coming closer and closer and closer. Right. God, why didn't I think of that? But fortunately, I have Christine to remind me. So yeah, looking at this now, again, it is my estimation that the blue are the nanobots. Because why would they be blue right next to white clouds? But actually, before I do this, let me show you what I captured on radar. Forgot to set this up after my computer went down from my electricity going out. What is it? Documents. Radar. So this today. Isn't it beautiful? Look at these extremely low frequencies blasting away in Montana. But isn't this interesting? Oh, wow, it's a line of supercells. Gee, that seems to be quite common. Look how defined the precipitation gets in Kansas, Montana. Whoa. And Wisconsin. So that line of supercells, wow. They're all developing in the Gulf, going right on up. Let's check out radar right now, shall we? Yes, we shall. Actually, let me check it out by doing this. Why did you move over? You're not supposed to. And let's see what's happening. Hope you guys are okay in Mississippi and Alabama and Panhandle of Florida. Looks like you have quite a bit of rain. Fortunately, they apparently killed off that train of supercells. Though you have what looks to be like a supercell in Arkansas. That's taken out. It's taken out. Okay, so let's go back to Zoom. Look at this. Look at how defined. Now this is 6:10 this morning. 6:10, so 9 o'clock, 9 a.m. on the East Coast. Look at that defined nature of cloud. Look at how defined is the nature of, yes, nanobots. Wow, look at that pointy, defined, well, triangle. Oh, another defined lineup of your fabulous nanobots getting ready to activate into Cirrus Cloud. That was the line. We'll do an hour. Whoa, look at this line. This was the line of the supercells that were manufactured by the technology that they are using to create weather. Look how defined is this cloud up here in Kansas and Oklahoma. And we've got a whole lot of these nanobots activated here, the East Coast. Look how defined. No, sorry. This is not how Mother Nature ever made cloud. But hey, believe in the horseshit that you hear constantly about those fabulous farting cows that are creating climate change. Pennsylvania, ooh, whole lot of microwaves going on. 7:10 a.m. and Vermont and upstate New York. Oh, and New York and Massachusetts, Western Massachusetts. How you feeling? Ooh, they don't go away. Isn't it lovely? No, it's not. It's heartbreaking. Look at all of the microwaves in the manufactured cloud. Look at how defined is this cloud. Why, it looks like they put in the coordinates for the boundary here, for the border. Yeah. A split. Look how nice and defined that is. That is not Mother Nature. Mother Nature works in a circular pattern, and she does not create, well, long, defined cloud-like substance that have different colors. No, she doesn't. Red, green, nanobot activation. So it's going to get really cold, and I guess that's not climate change, because climate change means it's going to get really hot. Whatever, man. And I'm going to link below to Rosa Koire once again, because you guys, man, this is coming at you fast. Just in case you can't see this, this is the United Nations document, Agenda 2030 Sustainable Development. United Nations document. No, it's not a conspiracy theory.
I'm Rosa Koire, and I'm from the United States, California. And my topic, what I speak about, is one of the most vitally important issues of our age, and that is United Nations Agenda 21 Sustainable Development. And as I'll be talking about tomorrow, it is the inventory and control plan. Inventory and control of all land, all water, all minerals, all plants, all animals, all construction, all means of production, all food, all energy, all information, and all human beings in the world. And this is a plan that was agreed to by 179 nations back in 1992. It's a United Nations plan. It's called the Agenda for the 21st Century. And so many of us around the world think that, well, sustainable development, it just sounds so great. Isn't it about recycling and creative reuse and creating energy and food resources for everyone? And the answer is no, it really is not. It's about moving populations into city centers, concentrated city centers, and clearing them out of the rural areas. So I found out about it in a very unusual way, actually, because I spent my career as a legal witness, as an expert witness for the California Department of Transportation. I'm an expert in land use and land valuation. And my specialty is in eminent domain valuation. So, of course, I was valuing property for the government so that the government could acquire that property for road projects. And what I found about 10 years ago, or 10 or 13 years ago, was that land actually, it was very difficult to say what it was worth because you couldn't know what people could do with it because they were being restricted from using their property. And as I explored that and found that it wasn't just in the San Francisco Bay Area where I was working, it was in fact all across the nation and the world, I looked behind that and I found United Nations Agenda 21, Sustainable Development. We created the Post-Sustainability Institute in order to educate people about the economic, social, political, and environmental impacts of communitarianism on the world. And communitarianism is that concept, that social and political construct that says that the individual's rights should be balanced against the rights of the community. And of course, the community is that amorphous, undefined community that when we talk about community, we think we're, of course, part of it and that, it's a positive thing. But really, community is constructed. It's constructed of non-governmental organizations, corporations, and government in order to dictate and regulate what it is that happens around the world. And we, as individuals, have literally no influence on that unless we are in agreement with it. If you dissent against the community, against communitarian law, or against communitarian social tactics, you're rejected and basically made an outcast.
Or killed off, as I believe Rosa was, because she was having great influence. And, well, they can't have that, right? They can't have that. Much respect, Rosa, much respect. And what do we have here? In the UK. QR code required simply to access a shop in order to buy food? Happening now.
So look at this. You're in London, you're on a business trip, you're staying in Greenwich, and you want to buy some food. So you go into the local Aldi's, like this one, and you think, I'm going to go in here and buy some food so that I can feed myself. And then you approach the barrier, and look, you can't even get in the shop without having a QR code to scan here, or to scan here, and then you can go in and buy things. Now this looks to me like the beginning stages of the digital prison.
You think? So, CBS New York The United Federation of Teachers in Staten Island leaders are suing the MTA over that congestion pricing. You guys in the UK, it's ULEZ, American style. The lawsuit was filed Thursday morning in federal court. So, UFT and Staten Island leaders should investigate C40 cities. Online congestion pricing is only the beginning of the horror people like Michael Bloomberg, on the C40 board, have planned for New York City. My God. So this congestion pricing is different pricing. Once you are in Manhattan, by the way, getting into Manhattan costs a lot of money due to tolls. But now they're doing, once you go below 60th Street, there's a camera. They've got the infrastructure set up. It's amazing how quickly, they can put together things. Government can really work fast when they're screwing you. But the cameras will catch your license plate and you'll be sent a bill. Just if you're at 61st Street and you keep driving down, boom, they get you. And I think the charges start at $15, and then they go up based on the vehicle. Unbelievable, man. So here, listen to this. Predictive programming.
On today's episode of Predictive Programming, let's talk about the Book of Eli. It was released in 2010 and is a post-apocalyptic story where the most sought-after possession is the Bible. At 37 minutes and 23 seconds in, the poster on the wall is timestamped 2024, programming the beginning year of the collapse.
Now, isn't that interesting? 2010, movie comes out, The Book of Eli, post-apocalyptic world, and poster. The year is 2024. A future you'll probably live to see. And that's a boy and his dog? 2024, here we are. Oh. So, I want to read a comment, talk about the all of what is happening to Americans, my subscribers. It's all going according to plan. I live in Central Florida. It's out of control. The local Facebook page has people asking for help with food and everything. Many people looking for affordable housing, which does not exist, and my electric bill soared to $350, and I'm not even there most of the time. Now, after the electric hike, the utility company is putting in new poles with weird boxes on them. I asked what they were doing. They said replacing the poles, but they're not replacing. They are adding to them. Also, with the new codes, you can't have a roof. These are the international codes. You can't have a roof over 15 years old. If you don't get a new roof, homeowner insurance is $4,600 a year. So I am preparing my home to sell because I cannot afford to live here. I've been in my home for 17 years, so this is gentrification. Oh, it's worse than gentrification. It's gentrification on steroids. I'm 60. I cannot work enough to cover my bills. I will take what little equity I can get, and I'm hitting the road. I feed 8 cats and can barely do that. Groceries have almost doubled here. Rents have doubled. It's like we are the new California. Also, I have a well and drain field But that's not sustainable, so we are going to be tied to city sewer. The homeowner has to pay for the trench from street to home. Then you get the septic bill. So I'm not complaining. It's okay to complain, okay? Americans, I just want to say to all of you, it's really okay to complain, okay? When you're being squeezed by external forces that you know the squeezing is deliberate, it really is okay to get upset. You're not being a bad person because you're upset. And no one should judge someone as, oh, what, you're just complaining? I mean, this subscriber is literally selling his home, I'm going to assume that it's a him, and moving because he cannot afford at 60 years of age to live where he has lived for 17 years. The stress must be enormous. It's really okay. Okay? I just want to say that. Yeah. I come across so many people who are like trying to qualify or constantly like apologizing for writing something that's upsetting. This is a social engineering that has really made us not real. Okay? It's very important to be real. And unfortunately, because so many people are not, and so many people judge, that getting real, finally living honestly, speaking honestly, there's going to be an awful lot of mess if that ever came about. But the mess brings us to a healthy place. Okay. Yeah, I'm, man. So, he goes on. I'm not complaining, just saying what is happening here. Oh, and if I get a roommate and they don't pay rent, you almost can't evict them. The laws protect the renter, except large rental management companies. They are closing off downtown and making live-work spaces, whatever the hell that means. They are building apartments like crazy. All of the coyotes, raccoons, possums, armadillos, a lot dead in the road, and they call this sustainable. It's super crowded with angry people. Lines are longer everywhere, homeless everywhere. I've lived here 25 years, 17 in my home. Every lot is being plowed for a house. It's a small town outside of Orlando. It's not like I moved to a city, but it's one now. There's bike paths being built everywhere with those new benches that you can't sleep on. Yeah, it's weird as hell. They built those roundabouts everywhere and four-way stops, and you have to stop for pedestrians and golf carts. The crosswalks are set up for people to just walk right out in front of your car. It's total effing insanity, and I have to get out of here because I can't afford it, and I'm losing my mind. So hopefully I can get enough to go live in Alabama in the middle of nowhere, not a mega region. They built a train to Orlando, too. They also stuffed all the dollar stores with groceries. Yeah, we are headed for the 15-minute city everywhere. You go, they ask your zip code. Well, mostly I just listen to Carol, but I haven't been able to because I'm working all the time. So like I said, I'm not complaining, just showing how the New World Order is being cemented into place. And I thank you so much for your comment because it does show what is happening to all of us, and it's okay to complain. It really is okay to bitch, complain, and, get it out, because a whole lot of people are really stressed out, but they're feeling like they can't express it, and they have to be, socially acceptable. Understand this. If you're going with the socially acceptable, it really means that you're well adjusted to a deeply disturbed society, which means you're deeply disturbed. Folks, yeah, you sure as hell have my permission to express however it is that you feel without any excuses, without any apologies. Let the comfortable be all upset about it.
So in 2019, the courts ruled that the Netherlands was actively in a nitrogen crisis. And that ruling has been the basis for our government to crack down on our farmers' rights and even move towards expropriation of their land. The nitrogen crisis does not exist. It's a pretext, it's a lie. The nitrogen crisis is a manufactured crisis created by bureaucrats in The Hague and in Brussels. Nobody who's acting in good faith would crack down on one of the most lucrative, hardworking, historically important sectors of our nation. So then the only question that we're left with is why would they do this then? The attack on farming is part of a bigger global agenda that is centered around control. Remember how I said earlier in this speech that the farmers need to give up their farms before 2030, specifically that year? Yeah, so that's not a coincidence. That year doesn't come out of nowhere. So that...
And as we know, that year comes out of Agenda 2030. And yeah, I just want to show one thing. German farmers have won. After bringing Berlin to a standstill, the government backed down on net zero taxes on agricultural diesel. So they won a battle. Did they win the war? No. They won a battle. But unfortunately now, what we are living, because so many didn't take action over the years, it's battle after battle after battle after battle. But guess what? Taking action, sometimes you win a battle. Taking no action, they just ram everything right on through. Like this. Pennsylvania State Troopers raid organic farm. Oh good, I got 79 views on Rumble.
I'm here in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, looking inside the window into Amos Miller's farm store operation here. We have multiple state troopers inside. We have coolers there on the ground that have been filled with products from Amos Miller's operation. We have multiple people in there. They've been inside Amos Miller's building here for hours, not allowing media in, searching the premises. I was told by one of the troopers that they are executing a search warrant, and I was instructed that I cannot be inside. Again, if you followed Amos Miller in the past, you know that he's a local farmer here in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, who provides organic products to his private buying club. People voluntarily choose to buy from him. I actually just spoke with a customer who came several hours today to purchase products. He's been a customer for 20 years, never been sick, never gotten sick, I should say, from Amos Miller's products. And here you have these two men coming over, pointing to these coolers. Again, these coolers have at least been partially filled with products from Amos Miller's store. It looks like they will be hauled off. You have these tyrants coming in and searching. And here's the problem with, you have these state troopers and these other, I'm assuming they work for the Pennsylvania Department of Agriculture. These people are at the heart of our tyranny problem in America. They'll tell you, I'm sure, I'm just doing my job. I'm just doing what I was told. State trooper will say, I'm just doing my job. This is the problem we have in America. As long as there are people like this who will execute, who will follow the orders of the tyrants, the bureaucratic tyrants at the top say, go do this, raid this man's farm, take his products away. As long as we have quote unquote regular, ordinary people like this, the people you see right in this video, as long as we have people like this who will enforce these man-made edicts, we will continue to have tyranny in America. And that's what we're seeing right here. The Amos Miller case has been an ongoing example of tyranny, of man-made law, and just an abandonment of justice. This is not justice. What you see here is not justice. Amos Miller has not broken the law of God. There's no victim here bringing a charge against Amos. Where's the victim? Where's the victim that is coming to the magistrate and saying, Amos Miller has wronged me and I would like him to make restitution? You're not seeing that. That's never been the case here with Amos Miller. It's always been the government wanting their share, playing the nanny, acting as the nanny, and trying to control. And the last thing these guys want is someone like Amos Miller to be successful, because he represents the opposite of the nanny state that they want to enforce upon us. So stay tuned. We'll have more here. It looks like they might be getting ready to leave.
Order followers are the worst. Community members who don't stand up allow the order followers to follow their orders. Community members that don't hold accountable the order followers, they work hand in hand. People who don't do anything, well, they're evil spreaders. So here, climate grifter extraordinaire John Kerry announces the need for a warlike effort to collapse the global farming industry in order to tackle the imaginary climate crisis.
In his usual lying hysteria, John Kerry, who serves as the first U.S. Special Presidential Envoy for Climate, told a series of lies and announced that our government is planning to shut down U.S. agriculture. They call it innovation because they are confident that our pain and desperation will someday give birth to an innovative new solution, or at least that's their cover story.
Emissions from the food system alone are projected to cause another 0.5 degree of warming by mid-century on the current course that we are today. And instead of being on a course to be able to hold the Earth's temperature increase to 1.5 degrees, we're actually on a course to hit around 3 degrees right now. And you just can't continue to both warm the planet while also expecting to feed it. Doesn't work. And as is so often the case with respect to the climate crisis, we have to fight on multiple fronts simultaneously. This is the biggest organizational effort that I think we have faced, certainly since World War II, but perhaps ever.
Okay, that's all I can listen to. I'll put the link in. I can't stand this guy. I can't stand listening to his voice. He looks like shit. He's, just one of those compulsive liars. We have so many of them. So many of them. They make a lot of money. The chronic liars make an awful lot of money lying chronically. But there's an awful lot of people who know that they're being lied to, and when you're not holding anybody accountable, and I'm talking about all, not just the John Kerrys or the Bidens or those in Congress or the mainstream media. I'm talking about everyone. We've got a problem lying in our country. People have to stop lying. Yeah.
Something now, they're going into agriculture and threatening to cut off the supply of food because food is causing global warming. And, oh, isn't that nice? Only the billionaires will be able to afford to buy food, and all the other people will die, and because there's not enough food. That's what we're heading for if we continue to listen to these people. And they are about to perpetrate one of the most evil acts in the history of human civilization, which is to cause poverty and starvation to hundreds of people if they go with this net zero. In order to get net zero, first off, we'd have to kill all the animals, including ourselves, because we are an emission of CO2. We are talking about the most important things for the survival of ourselves every day: food and energy. Nothing else is as important as those two things. Water, right, is part of food. They haven't decided to cut the water off just yet. But if they go ahead with what they are thinking and planning, they will cause a ruination the likes of which the earth has never seen. Because there are over 8 billion of us, and 4 billion of us depend on nitrogen fertilizer, which they now say is bad because it's a greenhouse gas or whatever. It isn't actually a greenhouse gas, but they've got some story about how nitrogen, in the form of nitrous oxide, is going to cause the earth to warm up to unacceptable degrees. It's all completely phony. And so is the campaign against CO2, completely phony. There's nothing to it. It's not a real thing. And yet they have made it into a real thing in the West in particular. Russia, India, and China are busy building coal plants and nuclear plants.
And it's coming. Yeah. On the basis of this video, the entire German mainstream media is now trying to vilify the German farmers as violent extremists who tried to attack the German Minister for Climate Action, Robert Habeck. Of course, none of it's true. And this tweet is that same woman speaking here, Eva, and the reality is that farmers you see here wanted to talk to Habeck, the man who is destroying their livelihood, mind you, and he cowardly flat out refused to listen to them. This vilification process was, of course, to be expected. The mainstream media tried doing the exact same thing to the Dutch farmers when they protested against our government. We're witnessing the same old intimidation tactics and the same efforts to turn the public against the farmers. It won't work this time. The people see through their lies and the people stand with the farmers. Hopefully. I think that's someone screaming. So yeah, and who are the biggest hypocrites? John Kerry, who flies around in his private jets, talking about climate change, how we've got to give up our gas stoves, we've got to give up our cars, we have to give up breathing. Taylor Swift, avid climate change activist, even spent time campaigning with Greta. How dare you? Thunberg. Yet everywhere she goes, she flies in her private jet. Swift has previously been named as the #1 celebrity with the biggest carbon footprint in 2022. People can't see through this? The largest French supermarket chain boycotts PepsiCo due to unacceptable price increases. Yet another way to get rid of food. And it doesn't matter. The food that they're listing and a whole lot will say good. Okay. Wait until they start taking away a whole lot of food that you don't say is all that good. So the global consumer is so tapped out, it's becoming virtually impossible to pass on constant price increases. Carrefour is the largest supermarket chain in France and is boycotting food and drinks manufacturing giant PepsiCo, pulling the company's snacks and soft drinks from store shelves due to recent price increases in the latest flare-up of a long-running clash between retailers and food companies over the cost of popular items, placing banners in aisles for PepsiCo products such as Lay's, Doritos, Crisps, 7-Up drinks, Lipton tea, advising customers we are no longer selling this brand due to unacceptable price increases. And there's a shrinkflation campaign which launched in September when PepsiCo was also targeted, along with Nestle's, Unilever, Lindt, and Sprungly. Authorities are now also joining Carrefour's fight against shrinkflation, where manufacturers reduce pack sizes without necessarily making a corresponding drop in price. It has emerged that the government has reportedly applied to the EU to clear a move that would oblige grocers to tell consumers if a product has been reduced in size, but its price has stayed the same. Well, I've seen shrinkflation in an awful lot of products. Chemicals that may cause cancer, infertility, widespread in packaged products like Cheerios, Coca-Cola, and Gerber cereals. Consumer Reports, which the nonprofit advocacy group, I think a lot of you know, Consumer Reports, tested 85 food items sold at supermarkets and by fast food chains, finding some level of plastic chemicals in 84 of them. The chemicals called plasticizers or phthalates seep in mainly through packaging materials and can cause cancer, infertility, birth defects, obesity, and other significant health problems. We have known this for decades. We've known it for decades. Yes, our food is poisoned. Products that had among the highest level of plastics were Yoplait original low-fat French vanilla, Ben & Jerry's vanilla ice cream, Wendy's crispy chicken nuggets, Burger King's Whopper, General Mills original Cheerios, Perdue ground chicken breast, and Del Monte sliced peaches. And yes, Annie's organic cheese ravioli. It's now clear that phthalates, in particular, can get in from the plastic in the tubing, conveyor belts, and gloves used during food processing, and can even enter directly into meat and produce via contaminated water and soil. Oh. Chemicals can also contaminate food via lined metal cans and plastic wraps. Well, if they've only tested 85 food products, there's an awful lot of food products out there. Yeah. Good luck buying something that's not poisoned. Even if it says organic. Oh, like Annie's. Sorry, President Biden, but nobody wants a glorified golf cart. It's really bombing. The green energy policies are bombing big time. Most Americans appear unwilling to adapt to a plug-in future. Like Mad Max, they queue up at the pump saying, "I'm just here for the gasoline." I didn't see that movie, but any of you, I'm sure you recognize that. Ford just announced it was cutting production of Biden's beloved F-150 Lightning pickups in half to just 1,600 vehicles per week for 2024. This on the heels of cutting the price by 10,000, despite the fact that the storied automaker was already losing 66,000 for every electric vehicle that comes off its assembly lines. Stock prices have pretty much plummeted for these electric vehicles. General Motors is pushing back the opening of an electric truck factory in Detroit after scrapping an earlier goal of producing 400,000 EVs over a 2-year period through 2024. The automaker may be dropping its Buick line to stay afloat. Was Biden's plan to drive all U.S. automakers into bankruptcy? Then there's the report that investors are backing off from EV charging companies. Stock prices have fallen at ChargePoint, EVgo, and Blink Charging in spite of Biden's $7.5 billion in subsidies. Wow. Blink Charging CEO Brendan Jones told the Wall Street Journal, "I think the investor class has grown weary of the industry's lack of profitability." Biden's dream of an all-electric vehicle fleet is further compounded by an April 2023 Gallup poll that showed only 12% of American auto buyers and just 1% of GOP voters were seriously considering purchasing an electric vehicle. In Europe, where most new vehicles are sold via lease, the rapidly declining value of used EVs is causing rental car firms and other fleet purchasers to cut back on EV adoptions that end up costing money on the back end. Chinese motorists have purchased an estimated 14 million EVs, but today its used car lots are overflowing with unsold vehicles, and junkyards are brim with abandoned EVs with plants sprouting from their trunks. Add the significantly lower resale value of used EVs to the list of reasons. Spent billions or trillions to jumpstart the EV market. What a waste. Several states have followed California's lead to forbid the sale of non-electric vehicles. New Jersey bans begin in 2035. Rhode Island and Washington up the ante to 2030. That's earlier than the 2040 date set at COP26 in Glasgow, and adopted by dozens of countries from Canada to Azerbaijan, which is the host of COP29. Electric's Fred Lambert believes there will be a major shift in consumer demand around 2024-25 that will result in virtually all new car buyers realizing that their next car is going to have to be electric. And that's the key. Have to be electric. Have no say. You have no say in how they spend their hard-earned money. In the world of Mad Max, governments lose all control over the population and collapse, leading to a collapse of civilized society and a return to a nomadic search for, well, gasoline. Today, there remains the possibility of voting out those who intend to impose an all-electric future on unwilling people, despite the gargantuan efforts of those in control to prevent such a political uprising. Yeah, keep believing that if you just vote for the right savior, they're going to do away with all of these policies. Yeah. Keep believing that. But hey, you feel like you're taking some action by voting? In the U.S., 2024 will mark a major turning point. Those who still prefer their gas appliances, gasoline-powered vehicles, rare steaks, and innumerable other benefits of modern society need to recognize that this may be the last time they have a chance to keep those choices available in the future. Yay, vote for Trump. Otherwise, that Fred Lambert may be right. People will tuck their tails, bow their heads, and submit their entire lives to the whims of a few self-righteous billionaires and their greedy lieutenants. It's time for action. How the hell did America get to a place where they're arresting patriotic citizens, SWAT style, for protesting an election that was clearly stolen by politicians that raped children on Epstein's Island? How did it get here? Well, the self-centeredness. I just want to live my comfortable life. And who cares? Who cares what's happening to all of us?
We're really patrolling the whole property looking for the suspect. Yet to find that suspect. And again, the FBI is asking that if you know anything about the location of Gregory Yetman, please call the FBI field office in Newark at 973-792-3000. And live in Middlesex County, Tom's Wire, Chapter 4. Adam, back to you.
Okay, yeah, we see that tactical team armed there going in to search a shed in Middlesex County. Tom's Wire over the scene in Chopper 4. Thank you, Tom. We keep
really
people posted.
Dramatic, isn't it? That's really dramatic. Yeah. In their fatigues and SWAT team going. They're looking for a suspect who attended the January 6th protest. They're going after an insurrectionist. Do you think that these guys really think that they're going after somebody dangerous? Or are they just so like, yeah, let's go? You know, still boys who are playing war or inside the catastrophic jobs report. A record 1.5 million crash in full-time jobs. 1.5 million jobs, full-time jobs, lost in 2023. Yeah. And we have under 4% unemployment. Multiple job holders soar to record. Native-born workers plunge. If any of you are judging people who are having a hard time financially, I hope you look in the mirror. I hope you can change that behavior real fast. Real fast. Any of you who have adult children who lost their job and are having difficulty finding work, and you are telling them that there are jobs out there, I hope you look in the mirror and realize that you're causing harm with that judgment. And I'm going to, I went back and I looked. I played this video yesterday, and I went back and I looked to see if anybody commented on this video. And I think there was one comment. One. That's scary to me. So I'm going to play it again.
New developments in a Channel 2 Action News investigation. We are digging into how some people say they're being made homeless by the Social Security Administration. We've reported for months now on how the federal agency is trying to claw back billions of dollars from millions of people it claims were paid too much. And now Channel 2 consumer investigator Justin Gray is here with stories of families not able to pay their monthly bills because of the repayment burden. Justin.
Yeah, Linda, if you don't or can't pay back these overpayment bills, Social Security can start taking the money out of your monthly check, sometimes pausing those payments entirely and even garnishing wages. That's left some families we've talked to homeless.
This is where I sleep.
Denise Woods drives to and from Georgia's strip malls, truck stops, and parking lots looking for a safe place to sleep each night.
It's scary. You just don't know what each day is going to bring.
Everything she owns is jammed into the back seat.
All my belongings.
According to this letter sent by the Social Security Administration, the agency is demanding back nearly $58,000 after determining it was overpaying her. Because of her disability, lupus, and congestive heart failure, she can only work part-time and makes just $14 per hour. So the agency is withholding her entire monthly check, about $2,000 per month, until February 2026.
So we overpaid you. We need our money back.
We met Nicole Eberhardt at an extended stay hotel recently.
I have 2 babies I have to think about.
It's where she's living now because losing her $1,700 monthly check from the SSA after the agency sent her an overpayment notice means the legally blind mother and grandmother also lost the roof over her head.
I was using that money to actually pay for the apartment that we were living in.
A Channel 2 Action News investigation in September first exposed billions of dollars in Social Security overpayments. Since then, as part of our months-long investigation in partnership with KFF Health News, we've heard from more than 400 families who've gotten demand letters from the Social Security Administration asking them to pay back thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars. Following our reporting, the head of the agency announced a full review of overpayment policies and procedures.
I want to get Social Security just to fix it.
Senator Sherrod Brown, chair of the Social Security subcommittee, suggests the agency could be misinterpreting a law about recovering all overpayments. Notices initially ask beneficiaries to repay the money directly, but the agency more often recoups the money by reducing or halting monthly benefits. It can also garnish wages and federal tax refunds. That leaves people like Denise Woods stuck with a bill they can't afford.
This shouldn't be life for anybody. Shouldn't be life for anybody.
And Channel 2 consumer investigator Justin Gray is back with us right.
And here, another subscriber, they sent me a letter saying they overpaid my Social Security. I filed an appeal. Mine is about $19,000 from 2019. May God help us all. Well, I am so sorry, Christine. That we have done nothing to create community. Some people have tried, but because people are just so messed up. I've heard of others who have created, prepper groups or survival groups, and boom, somebody has issues, fight starts, boom, that's it. No resolution. You can't resolve anything with a whole lot of Americans. So now that group, people are on their own. You can't survive without community. Family, friends, community. And people are being made homeless because Social Security overpaid them. Where are Americans screaming about this? Nowhere to be found. Left alone. More and more going over the cliff. Left alone. Blue states saw highest rates of homelessness in 2023. Washington, D.C. had the highest rate of homelessness in the country at 73.3 people for every 10,000 residents, which amounts to 4,922. New York came in second with 52, and Washington, D.C. has a small population. So New York came in second with 52.4 homeless people for every 10,000, or 103,200. Vermont came in third with 50.9 per 10,000, or 3,295. Oregon, fourth place, 50 per 10,000, equating to about 20,000. California, 46.5 per 10,000, equivalent to 181,399. City of San Francisco in particular saw a surge in homeless tent encampments, but hey, who cares? Those are the homeless that are residents and citizens. The illegals come first. Biden hasn't done anything for 2 weeks. The amount of vacations that this so-called president of ours has taken has been, wow, he sure is living the good life while Americans continue to get screwed. More and more Americans going down, and this mother effer, Biden hasn't had an event on his schedule since December 22nd, 13 days ago.
Scheduled tomorrow or Friday. I don't have anything at this time for you. As you know, he will be traveling on Saturday for January 6th to Pennsylvania. That is something that the campaign is putting together. So if you have any specific details, we're certainly...
Oh, so he's going to start working, campaigning. Here's what Biden has been doing for the past 2 weeks. December 22nd, he spent 9 minutes at Children's National Hospital. December 23rd, left for vacation at Camp David and was there the 24th and the 25th. On the 26th, he returned from vacation at Camp David. 27th, left for vacation to the U.S. Virgin Islands. On the 28th, he was there, vacationing. On the 29th, vacationing. 30th, vacationing. 31st, vacationing. January 1, vacationing. January 2, late night return from his vacation. January 3rd, nothing. January 4th, nothing. Yeah. It's in our face, okay? It is in our face that these people do nothing for us. They get rich in these positions, and more and more and more are going down. More than a third of U.S. adults say Biden's election was illegitimate. Now, more than a third of U.S. adults believe that he was not elected legitimately. And Democrats saw a slight dip in this poll. From 94% to 91%, Democrats. I know that you believe you're intelligent. Let me be frank. You are beyond stupid. This is coming from the former Democrat who, circled in a social network of people who were so arrogant, myself included, believing that we were the smart ones. Wow, coming out of that bubble was hard. Whew. Air Force crew ejects safely. 4 crew eject safely as B-1 bomber crashes during landing in South Dakota. Why are we having so many crashes of military jets? They were on a training mission. I guess they need more training. Now, apparently, it was because of fog. Fog? I will link below to to this video. You can watch the entire video, but I'll play just a few minutes. And Canadian Prepper puts it together. All of what's going on. North Korea fires shots, U.S. bomber crash, nuclear base, oh boy, evacuation, internet down.
Breaking news, emergency alert, late night emergency alert. It appears as though we are about to see a war erupt on the Korean Peninsula, which may well go nuclear. This story just broke, and I had a whole presentation ready to go before this story. There was a B-1B nuclear-capable bomber that went down near Ellsworth Air Base, which is formerly known for housing nuclear weapons. It's going to be used for that purpose in the future. Once again, for all intents and purposes, we can assume that is incredibly strategic, and it is incredibly suspicious that a $500 million nuclear-capable bomber could go down as a result of fog, as they're saying. We also had a very mysterious nationwide internet glitch here today in Canada that I'll talk about. The Houthis have crossed the red line today, the final red line. They were given an ultimatum by the coalitional forces yesterday, and today they fired on a U.S. warship, which means, as per that ultimatum, that now there's going to be a military intervention, i.e. war. We also have to talk about a British Air Force colonel who suspects that the Ukraine is about to receive, if not has already received, approximately 60 F-16s, which the Russians have perceived to be and expressed their concern that these are nuclear-capable F-16s. We also have Biden passing an emergency legislation on cybersecurity for nuclear weapons. We have our inside source in military foodstuffs indicating that embassies continue to stockpile food for continuity of government planning. Of course, we broke that story back in September before the October 7th shit hit the fan. Canada has delayed all flights to Tel Aviv until April. Germany evacuating Lebanon. Poland is moving forces towards the Ukrainian border under the guise, of course, of an exercise. We have a massive attack that just took place on Crimea that the Russians claim was repelled, but this is getting incredibly serious. They're getting very close to busting that linchpin, which is the Kerch Bridge. And when that happens, we're a stone's throw away from nuclear Armageddon, if you ask me.
Wow. This guy always is fear-mongering. This guy is full of crap, clickbait, fear-mongerer. He sells end-of-the-world supplies as a job. Well, all I can say is everything that he is saying has happened. Puts us closer to war breaking out. And if you're afraid, if you feel like he's fear-mongering, don't watch him. Don't watch him. Here, this, let's see. Where is it? Boy, I thought I had it. Huh. Oh, it was a tweet about what's happening with North Korea and South Korea. Anyway, disturbing doctors call for withdrawal of psychiatry textbook promoting gender-affirming care. And as I was reading this, I thought, why has there not been a call for withdrawal of the DSM? Because everything that they're saying about this gender-affirming care textbook that's promoted by the APA is also what a whole lot have been saying about the DSM, the Diagnostic Statistical Manual of Mental Health. Nearly 170 health professionals have signed an open letter to the American Psychiatric Association condemning its new gender-affirming care textbook as unacceptable, unethical, and unsafe. The textbook, Gender-Affirming Psychiatric Care, released on November 8. The textbook is intended to be used as a teaching tool for doctors in training. Within 24 hours, more than 700 additional names have been added to the list of signatories. The APA did not immediately respond to a request for comment. No kidding. Its 26 chapters are written by 56 authors, 50 of whom either identify as transgender or don't identify as male or female. Other health professionals are questioning the wisdom of relying on the author's personal experiences just because of their gender identities. You'd think the APA would get that, but hey. They also object to backing up those testimonies with limited scientific studies as the DSM. Just like the DSM. Some with hardly disputed results. The textbook also presents neo-Marxist critical theories focused on calling out the so-called oppression of particular identity groups. The textbook will be seen as a gold standard of care because it comes from the considerable clout of the APA behind it. Just like the DSM. Relying on these Bibles. They consider it a Bible. DSM, gender-affirming textbooks. All you have to do is a little bit of research to find out. All of those diagnoses in the DSM voted on. They were voted on. No science. It also, the textbook presents as evidence some studies that have come under fire for being flawed. Who gets harmed? Children. Push, push, push all of the treatments for gender transitioning. And here, a middle school mom went undercover to expose the shocking material they were teaching students and how the principal covered it up.
See, right on here. Any kid can see this. Any kid. It's got best penis pumps. It's got the best sex dolls. Heavy petting, groping. Middle schoolers can't keep their hands off each other.
Chemical dance that allows this to happen is one of the sexiest things that goes on in your body other than, like, sex.
I'm very sorry. This is nothing that I would have ever wanted to have anybody exposed to.
Who wants to know what my son's proclivity to certain sex is? Birth control, herpes home tests, where to get your best sex doll, how to enlarge your penis.
Like I said, we'll notify technology of the website. Make sure it gets clear on our file.
But you will not notify the parents.
I will link below. It's 10 minutes of this is what's happening in the schools. Okay? Yeah. Every adult has a responsibility to protect children. No ifs, ands, or buts. And I will also link below to JWTV's video on mosquitoes pumped with radiation. Yeah. Mosquitoes pumped with radiation. These strange things happening just change everything. Alright. Oh boy. And here, the cost of dissenting is extremely high. I would say the cost of speaking the truth is extremely high, whether you are in the public, on the public stage, or you're just an ordinary American. See, I really want all of us to keep working on ourselves, to get ourselves to be worthy of trust. Your word is everything. That's not just a saying. Your word is everything. And a whole lot of Americans, ordinary Americans, just speak a whole lot of good crap and they don't live it. So, here, Naomi Wolf, formerly an honored member of the left, is now a target of the woke left, Biden regime, media, and Democratic Party. She explains, and I'll put the link in, it's, you know what? I don't know. I think Lou Rockwell is one of those sites. I can't put the link in. But if you go to Lou Rockwell, you'll find this article. VDare is a website that believes that countries should have borders. For acting in behalf of this belief, VDare is persecuted by the New York Attorney General and harassed by bot attacks on the website's ability to operate. And we know the cost to Julian Assange of making the truth known. Additionally, those who don't abide by official narratives are libeled, slandered, constantly insulted, misrepresented, have statements attributed to them that they never made, or are put on watch lists. Wikipedia and fact checkers create false biographies for them. Americans not involved in the fray do not comprehend the cost of dissenting from the false official narratives. Read Dr. Wolf's account and the account of VDare and try to imagine the stress. Clearly, the intent is to prevent any information that does not serve our rulers' agendas. What this tells us is that the ruling elites in the Western world have no respect for truth, independent thought, freedom, and are determined to avoid being held accountable by free speech. We are ruled by the worst tyrants in human history. We are being herded into a matrix that they control. They have the one leader who dared to oppose them. Oh, well, forget that. Sorry. Don't agree. Trump. Operation Warp Speed. Trump. Allowing telecommunication companies all the free reign they wanted, bypassing any local laws that local officials had the right to say, no, we don't want 5G in our community. Trump said, too bad for you. And a whole lot more that Trump did. So, and I'm just going to play this, you know, the hypocrisy is just so stunning and so obvious, and that is what is so upsetting, because Americans know that everything is just crap in this country. Everything's a lie. The hypocrisy is, the stench of it only gets harder to take every single day. And yet, silence, crickets. Here, Joe Biden was just yelling political violence is never acceptable in the United States. But I remember filming his supporters coast to coast attacking police. You know what? I'm just going to put the because I got a community guidelines strike on posting a video that was just too violent for adults to take. So yeah. Not too much on the illegal migrant happenings Here we have people with sticks, but no sign of a mile of police cars going after them. We are clearly lacking police determination. Manchester, England. So they have changed Western nations, and I'm sorry to say there is no going back unless there's mass deportation. And do we really think that that's going to happen? No. And here's Allie Bradley, and I have to give her credit. She has asked questions that I haven't heard from any other mainstream media reporter. But here, in Texas, no amount of money will end this border crisis. It has to be policy changes. Oh, that's Congressman Tony Gonzalez, who represents much of the Texas border with Mexico. He led a 21 congressional delegation to the border and says the more they come down, the more it alleviates the strain because the feds always clean things up before the visit.
This is your 21st CODEL,
Yes.
leading lawmakers down here to see this crisis firsthand. What makes this trip different, and why now?
You know what, Speaker Johnson making this a priority and bringing 60 plus members, this is historic. We've never had that many members come out on a border delegation before. Showing up matters. It's important that members of Congress show up. We can't just talk about it. And I think it unites us. There's been a lot of division, no doubt. Last year's a lot of division in the House, to say the least. But one thing that unites us is the border and border security. And it's very evident. All you have to do is speak with one rancher or one judge or one mayor or one sheriff. Doesn't matter what party, they will all tell you the exact same thing. And what's happening here in Eagle Pass, it's happening in Arizona, it's happening in El Paso, starting to happen in San Diego, in the RGV. There is no end in sight, so it's important that members of Congress show up.
But they've been showing up, and nothing has changed. I mean, you're beating the drum, like I said, 21 times, and nothing has changed. So what do you hope to come out of this one, or what can change from this CODEL?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you today. 2 weeks ago, I was here in Eagle Pass. 14 days ago, there were 4,000 people coming over a day, which is astronomical. There were 10,000 people in custody. There were 6,000 people at the Firefly facility. Fast forward 2 weeks and 65 members, and all of a sudden there was 216 crossings yesterday, which is nothing. Never seen it that low in years. In the facility, in the Firefly facility, 600. So a 90% reduction. And then, so showing up matters. I think that's already a win. The local law enforcement, we needed a break. The other piece of it too is we're about to go into these negotiations on funding the government. And I've been of the mindset, no amount of money will end this border crisis. It has to be policy changes. And the fact that we've got so many members here showing the importance of border security, I think leads us into 2024 as we fight these battles.
When it comes to, you were mentioning, basically it cleared out because you guys are coming here to it, from what I can ascertain from that conversation. So are you saying every time you guys come down here, basically it clears out? So why wouldn't you be down here every day then? Or why wouldn't you shut it down every day?
So and once again, the reason why I've had 21 CODELs, the more you bring people here, the more it alleviates some of the stress. Those are all Band-Aids though. We know how this ends. It's very...
This guy is actually saying when we have a congressional delegation that comes down to the border, they shut down all of the migrants. They keep them in Mexico until the congressional delegation goes home. Are you kidding me? Policy changes? We don't need policy changes. We need immigration law enforced. So these people who come down, Republican or Democrat, it doesn't matter. They're full of shit. And Americans, you better start waking up to the full of shit. Yeah, oh God. San Antonio Police Department admits on camera that the police is under the direction of Catholic Charities in San Antonio. Wow.
And we see crime happening. There's drugs being sold, there's cigarettes being sold, there's financial services being sold. And I was very surprised that the San Antonio Police Department wasn't doing something about that. What I just saw you do right here is you've asked these people that were loitering to move out. Well done. I really appreciate that. I asked you for a comment, but you said that there's a way to actually ask.
Yes, if you contact our PIO services, and I can give you that information.
Yeah, do you have a card or something that we can...
No card, but I can get you the phone number.
I would really appreciate that. Okay. Like I said, the national press is here right now, and man, they would love... I'm telling you, we want to know what the San Antonio Police Department thinks about what's going on. There's a lot of criminality that's happening, and as citizens of the city, we're extremely concerned. You said you have a phone number? Can you maybe write it down for me? Do you have anything? So are there multiple, are the police officers that are sitting there on duty right now, or are they off-duty officers?
The officers, well, we're all here under the direction of Catholic Charities.
Yep.
To keep order, basically.
Yeah.
Sorry, I couldn't take the flashing lights, so I had to scroll down. But yeah, Catholic Charities. CBP. Border Protection. Border Patrol. Sources tell me ICE is currently monitoring the cases of 6.6 million migrants. 1.3 million of them have received a final order of removal, but that doesn't necessarily mean they are taken into custody. Otherwise, there would be 1.3 million in custody right now. ICE only has the capability to actually track 300,000 people under the alternate to detention program. And if they do get picked up for removal, they can file a motion to reopen, which has an automatic stay of removal and puts them back into proceedings to see a judge. For how long? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. This is just such... look, you have to be stupid to actually watch this and think it's complicated. Or what's happening in Israel and the Gaza Strip and West Bank, it's complicated. It's not complicated. They are breaking the law. Treason is taking place here. And they're setting American citizens up for an awful lot of violence. And Americans... Phew, wow, man. Texas, Arizona. These are all Allie Bradley's tweets. We need to detain and we need to deport, and that's going to deter people from coming here. This is an Arizona congressman who represents the Tucson sector, the hardest hit area along the southern border, while he was in Eagle Pass, Texas for the congressional delegation. Migrant encounter numbers are trending in the wrong direction.
You represent a district that is being annihilated right now. We saw 80,000 encounters in your district alone last month. Now you're in Texas. Tell me what it's like seeing the crisis kind of from the ground level here in a different state.
Well, you're right. What we saw in December, that was 16,000 more encounters that we saw in November, trending in the wrong direction after a port of entry was closed. The illegal entries continue to rise while the trade, commerce, and tourism practically disappeared in that region. This administration continues to offer failed solutions, if you can even call them that, to this crisis. What I'm seeing here is something very similar, at the same time different. There's a river here, there's water behind us. There are other challenges. Nevertheless, the frustration with the administration is the same. As I hear the ranchers here speak and the local sheriffs, it's like if I'm hearing the ones back at home. frustrated with the situation. Different specific challenges in terms of how people are getting here. Nevertheless, the numbers are too many, the worst I've ever seen, and with no solution in sight. So that is the problem that is very similar from Arizona to Texas.
When it comes to the issue of the Codels, this is the 21st one that Tony Gonzalez has brought down. You said you're bringing down some in Arizona next month, I believe.
That's right.
What's going to change? What's going to make a difference? We've done this a lot, and people are calling it a dog and pony show and a photo op. What's going to change?
Well, when you see what a lot of members have seen here, you can't unsee it. When you have 64 members from 26 different states see this as together for the first time, some of them, to just go back to Washington next week, this is going to be fresh in our mind to continue to hold this a priority. This is what we need to do. Get on the same page and all.
It's not fresh in their mind. It's fresh in my mind. And I wasn't part of the delegation. It's fresh in a lot of Americans' minds. It's on mainstream media now. What's going on? You got to come down and see the few hundred trickling across for your photo op. 21 times a congressional delegation has come down to the border. 21 times? And it takes them that? What, now they're going to go back to Washington, D.C. and do something about this? This has been an issue for decades. Nothing has been done. So Americans, can't you get that all of what you are seeing is just staged theater? It's so hard. Do you guys want names of some of the NGOs operating on the border? Here's a few of the ones directly involved. Pueblos Sin Fronteras, Al Ortoro Lado, Angels Without Borders, Humane Borders, Arizona, Border Network for Human Rights. Who cares? I don't think anyone. You know, that's what is so upsetting. I'm all about the use of military force. I want to authorize the use of the United States military to go down there and kill the drug cartels. Whoa.
We're going to do we're finishing up the 5 phases, and look, we just want the due process to be finished.
So, obviously, Congressman, this is not your first trip to the border.
No.
Anything at the border that you saw that was surprising or that will come out of this meeting? Because nothing's been done in 3 years. I think there's a couple of things. One, some specifics to to this sector. You know, we've got 9 sectors, and as the chairman, I track them. I have a big map in my office and all that, right? So, but I got new news here that it's $32 million a week that the cartels are making just on human trafficking in this sector alone. So that was news on this trip. And then, just seeing how the cartels can shut it down when Congress comes. There were like 10,000 people a day just a few days ago, and suddenly nobody's crossing. That tells me, the cartels knew in the news we were coming, and they're playing the game of, making it nice and easy for us while the cameras are here, so. Now, do you ever think that it has something to do with our government? When Abbott comes down here, the same thing, right? It gets shut down. So if you can shut it down for 1 day, why can't you shut it down for 365?
You mean the Mexican government?
Our government.
Well, I think the guys on the opposite side control the flow, right? So the cartels control the flow. So they're the ones shutting the flow down when they think the cameras are coming to the border, a big mass of cameras. And clearly when the speaker comes, that's a big mass of cameras. So I'm sure that the cartels basically shut the flow. Would we have 10 or 15 come over just a while ago? That's nothing.
Now, when it comes to the crisis down here, you guys have obviously pointed a lot of the blame to the Biden administration, namely Alejandro Mayorkas. You just announced the first steps in the impeachment proceedings, January 10th.
Yep.
You'll be going forward with this.
Look, it's a bipartisan thing. We had a Republican bring impeachment articles to the floor of the House, and the Democrats actually made a motion to send that to my committee. So, Republican, Democrat, it's a bipartisan thing. They're working together to get it to my committee.
Now, when it came to
that was a joke, by the way.
when it came to Congresswoman, Marjorie Taylor Greene, basically submitting articles of impeachment, not getting shut down. What's going to be the difference this time around?
Yeah, so there were 8 Republicans who voted no on that, right? And several of them told me, in fact, they came up and sought me out, you're still doing your 5 phases thing, right? And I'm like, yeah, we're going to do the 5. We're finishing up the 5 phases. And they, look, we just want the due process to be finished. So once the due process is done, I think several of those will vote yes to impeach. So the question is, will we get 5 of those 8? I think we will.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay. And what comes next? I mean, a lot of people say Mayorkas is out, but you're just going to bring in someone, quote, worse, or someone who told the line
that old
differently?
saying, the devil you do, the devil you know versus the devil you don't. Look, I have a duty to the people of
We should
Tennessee.
probably stop walking so we're not in his live shot, maybe. Do you want to be in his live shot too?
No, I don't.
I know, I didn't think you did. Right, so obviously, like you said, the devil you know is better than the devil you don't know.
The devil you know versus the devil you don't. I mean, I've heard of that expression. Take out leaders of criminal organizations, or you take out, Saddam Hussein, which, interestingly enough, I got to interview when we did that. But still, you have to do the right thing. And I have a duty to the people of Tennessee. This guy has abused his power to force his woke immigration agenda on the American people, putting the American people at risk, killing hundreds of thousands of them to fentanyl, tens of thousands of young girls trafficked into sex slavery, empowering the nexus of cartel crime throughout the whole United States. He needs to go, and that's my duty. And so we're going to do everything we can to do it. It's 435 people in the building. We'll see what happens.
Now, when it comes to the cartel, obviously Congressman Tony Gonzalez had brought up the idea of designating them as terrorists. I know that's something a lot of people in the Republican Party support. However, has the Republican Party considered what that would mean for amnesty for the individuals in Mexico? I mean, DHS said there are over 600,000 people at the end of Title 42 in Mexico. Wouldn't they all get amnesty as refugees, or because of the designation of a terrorist organization running Mexico?
There are a lot of tentacles to the FTO designation, and that's why I support creating a new classification, combining the foreign terrorist organization rules with the RICO statutes and all this other stuff. I'm not an attorney, right? But I've been made aware of, having fought the war on terror, that the way the tentacles of the FTO works, it won't work in Mexico. And so, I'm all about the use of military force. I want to authorize the use of the United States military to go down there and kill the drug cartels. But if you do it through the FTO, it's going to create a ripple effect, and I don't think that's the best way to go.
Okay. Obviously, a lot of gridlock in Congress when it comes to illegal immigration and the border crisis in general, because for 3 years, we haven't, I've been covering this for 2.5 years, and it's only gotten worse. So we haven't made much progress on this crisis at all. 302,000 people last month alone. So what's the likelihood, or what do you hope for when it comes to passing legislation or getting things through the caucuses in order to actually make progress when, again, we've been in a deadlock and a gridlock in Congress?
We just got to find that lever that works to force people to work together.
But what is that?
I think the thing that the left wants the most is money to Ukraine. Maybe it's some other budget thing, their version of border security versus our version of border security. But we have to just hold on what we believe in, and we have got to have spine and stick to it. And so I hope our team does. I know I will.
And is that spine and sticking to it, shutting the government down unless you shut the border down?
Well, the challenge there is the DOD and law enforcement and things like that. I was here for the last shutdown for the Department of Homeland Security. And, fortunately in that shutdown, the appropriations bill for the DOD had been passed. So the soldiers still got their checks and all that. I'm not for shutting down the government. I'm opposed to that. But ultimately, we have got to get border security, or it's just not going to matter. So that'll be a decision I make when it comes across my finger, push the button.
Now, a lot of people talk about the pull factors, the magnets, cutting off the pull factors, and that will cut off, the flow. What are some of those things that you can see as pull factors that need to be cut off, that needs to be ended?
Look, the pull factor issue is we have a great country, so it pulls people in. I don't have a problem with that. I want our country to...
Oh, God, I'm so sick of listening to that bullshit. Nothing's going to be done. She's another player. I love when people put down comments that they have no basis, that they have no evidence. They're just baseless claims. But really, it's up to the American people. So we can bitch and complain about all of the politicians and the mainstream media reporters and judge them and make our baseless claims about them when we don't really know. And we don't do anything. You, me. We're just waiting for somebody to do something. You are the savior you're looking for. You. And we don't do anything. Okay, so we can blame ourselves for the condition we're in. Collectively. And this is what you get. We know we have a criminal organization in Washington, D.C. We know that criminality came down into state governments and local governments. We know we have been taken over by the United Nations. We know, but we didn't do anything with the knowledge. So, we have rendered ourselves useless. I don't like it, but there's an awful lot of people who know enough to have the knowledge that they have motivate them to take some action to protect their own self. They don't. We don't. Okay, so what I say is do what you can in your community to create community. Do what you can to establish yourself as a trustworthy human being. Live honestly and speak honestly, because that manifests something good. You can't manifest anything if you are not taking any kind of action. So, it hurts to live this. It hurts to live this. But here we are. So, thank you for showing up. I hope to see you tomorrow night. Be safe out there. Make sure that you do what you need to do to increase that awareness of yourself. Most importantly, the truth will set you free. What truth? What truth? Your own truth, by looking in the mirror. Not the collective truth. The truth will set you free when you get to your own truth and know who you are. And we have an awful lot happening that a whole lot of people are being victims of violence. So yes, increase the awareness that you have of your surroundings. And, going out, if you can do it with somebody, so that you're not alone, do that. I would highly recommend that. Get a community together. Well, hard work, for sure. But on that note, I say good night and good luck. Ciao, guys.